Jeanette Forbes. I'm Director of PCL Group. We're a company that's based out of Port Lethem. We've been in operation since March 2000, when the company was incorporated, and I have a team of 9 engineers. I think we're slightly different than most other IT companies in the fact that we haven't just gone down one specific route with regards to software and hardware. We've actually taken the whole package, so to speak, and that's what we install. We take it from design, implementation, purchase, supply, maintenance, hardware, software, configuration, and the support element afterwards as well. What we tend to do is we actually have organised the business or our company so that it's sector driven as opposed to being discipline driven with regards to IT hardware, as in marine side. We specialise in the marine side, we specialise in the offshore sector with regards to the cabling, fibre optics, and with regards to the commercial and the industrial side, we also specialise in certain areas within that too. I'm a firm believer that although we have competitors and they need to be looked at periodically, I don't get too hung up about what they're doing, because what's important is what PCL is doing. We operate in a very fast-moving environment, and therefore we have to be 24/7 in order to meet the demands of these environments. Currently what happens is that we have engineers that come in from Holland, other areas of the world, in order to repair these systems that are on board the vessels, but we don't have anybody actually in Aberdeen that does that. At the moment I do it predominantly, but it's difficult trying to manage that single-handedly. We need more people or more engineers that are going to be qualified and trained in order to do this. We're trying very hard to develop international partnerships, if you like, between PCL Group and others. We've really only just started that because it's important that when you start a business or start a company that you have the right foundations and that the foundations are strong enough to hold and maintain this. If you start to develop the company and grow the company when the structure isn't quite solid, invariably it'll collapse. The challenge for me at the moment within the organisation is knowing who to contact when it comes to structuring and implementing these connections or starting to get these working relationships formed and formulated. Invariably you can ask people within the sectors who to speak to, and they'll give you some guidance. However, it's difficult for you to obtain that information, to know who the right contact is. You spend a lot of time trying to get to the right person, and I think that what we need to do is know who to contact within these organisations, and they're going to help us to get and break down the barriers and get through the doors in order to take the company structure forward and in order to give you the end result, which is to work with international partners. We haven't come into this business half-heartedly and said one day when I woke up I'm going to start my own company. We've decided that we were going to take that decision and make it something. I think in the early days there was some kind of complacency when it came to the banks. You know, were we serious enough about what we were doing? Did we really think we would be able to succeed? You only have to look at some of these women entrepreneurs, the top women entrepreneurs, and you can see that yes, they have that drive in order to move everything forward. And that's important. You know, it's an important message because people like me aspire to be like them. Everybody has a role model that they want to aspire to become, and I think it's important that we look at that and we're able to aspire to these women that have made the grade, so to speak. There's been big changes over the 7 years that I've been working in this industry. There were days when you would come on board or you would go to a rig and there was no other female there at all. And invariably you would be up against the men usually, because they were intrigued, if that's the right word, to know why there was a woman on board. And there have been situations where the OIM on board or in charge of the rig have come to speak to me and say, I've had 12 guys in the cabin this morning wanting to know why there's a woman in the control room. Well, I was doing my job. When I first started working in the offshore and the marine sector, there were hardly any women engineers that were out there in the field. And that's now changed. It's quite nice to see another woman geologist or another woman engineer that's actually working on some platform that you're on also working. at least you can have a conversation and exchange recipes, which you can't do with your male counterparts. However, the barriers that we've broken down over the years, I think, yeah, they've come down eventually. They've been a gradual process, but they have come down now. And the nice thing is that you've done your apprenticeship, and people recognise that now. After 7 years of being in business, I no longer have the same adversity that I used to come up against. And once you've earned your stripes, then the guys are okay. You share a joke with them, and they respect you for that. You know, you come down to their level, you communicate at their level, you agree to go and have a beer with them, possibly. Yes, that's fine, you know. People used to often wonder why you were a woman working in this discipline. Now it's recognised that women are coming through, and I think they actually quite enjoy the fact that there's a little bit of difference there, as opposed to being an all-male working environment or an all-female working environment. But I think it's how your perception of that. You know, I think you have to come down to the perception part of how you perceive the environment. You know, you don't come on board working on a vessel dressed in a suit and a short skirt and high heels. You have to be realistic about this, you know, and realise that you are working in a male-orientated discipline, and therefore you have to dress accordingly. Networks do help in order to bring future development to a company, in particular to PCL, because how else do we learn or do we know and find out who to speak to in these industry sectors if we didn't have networks, other than going to organisations in order to ask the same question? And invariably you meet these people at these events, so therefore you're having that one-to-one communication and contact right at the onset. And that's important. It's important to hit the right person, to be able to speak to the correct person there and then, speak about your concerns, introduce your organisation, develop a relationship, and then move it forward. If it's going to go forward, it will go forward from there. And I use networking as a personal development tool in order to build my confidence. I think that the networking establishment organisations nowadays have got the combination correct. They used to be just solely women and men sharing networking. Now there's women only. There's also men only. But I think it's important that the combination now works well. You know, they seem to have the recipe correct. The important message is that we don't stand still. Constantly learning, constantly nurturing our staff and training, and constantly taking things to a newer level and pushing the market. If you feel that you can do that job, go out and do it. Don't sit back and expect somebody else to do it for you, because it won't happen. Don't get too embroiled in, well, I'm a woman and I'm being victimised because of that. That doesn't happen now. Perhaps a long time ago, but not now. You know, women are out there to be recognised. There are some very good women engineers that do this on a daily basis. You know, this is their work. I'm one of them. I've been given an opportunity, and I grasped it with both hands and decided I was going to make it my own. And that's what I'd like to think I've done with PCL Group.